vamonos. If you're not first, then you're in last. Ricky Bobby quote, you gotta know. Work hard, get dough. I can't get no sleep, please make my life more simple. Miles inside these shoes, so I don't stomp, I tiptoe. Fell 1,000 times and still I roll no limp though. But I wouldn't trade a thing for what I have. I go hard, do what I need to make it last. They say the good die young, I hope I'm bad. They say the good die young, I hope I'm bad. Work hard, get dough. I can't get no sleep, please make my life more simple. Miles inside these shoes, so I don't stomp, I tiptoe. Fell 1,000 times and still I roll no limp though. But I wouldn't trade a thing for what I have. I go hard, do what I need to make it last. They say the good die young, I hope I'm bad. They say the good die young, I hope I'm bad.
Down in the dungeon is all we know, where the shining light, we never go into the open. As far as you can see it, wasting there a big bright destiny. Don't you feel like breaking free? Open your eyes, embrace what you see now. Don't you feel like cutting loose? Yeah, cutting loose, cutting loose. I'm alive, I
Yo, everybody, we live. You know it, Generation Orange co-host Sean Ringers and my actual co-host.
Mark Segovia, what's going on, guys?
This side.
Man, I was looking outside the window. It got pretty dark outside.
I'm going to say this just in case, guys. If Mark loses power, because I don't have anything yet over here, but if Mark does happen to lose power and drops off the internet, that's okay. We'll just switch to playing some FIFA, right?
FIFA rules the world, man. But what's up, guys? Welcome to Generation Orange. Like Sean said, we're your hosts, Mark and Sean. It's Sean. I don't think we're really prepared for today's show too adequately. I mean, per se. We didn't have any show notes. We didn't really prep like we normally do. So I guess we're gonna freestyle today, maybe.
Bro, and the technical difficulties leading up to the show for me have been ridiculous. Like, I couldn't get the webcam to pull up in Zoom, so I had to restart the computer. I couldn't get Zoom audio to pull up in OBS, so I had to restart OBS. The chat for Restream is not pulling up both streams chat. It's only pulling up YouTube. It's not pulling up Twitch, so I gotta have Twitch in a separate window, which I haven't had to do in like months. So it's just like everything is piling up, bro. I'm just like, the struggle is real tonight. I feel like I'm the Dynamo or Paulo. I mean,
you know what it is. You know what they say. You know, we work hard, but the devil's always working harder. So we gotta combat that. You know, regardless of whatever technicalities or whatever disaster that might happen, we still gotta make it through.
That's right. The show must go on, as they say.
There you go. The show must go on, and it definitely will. But Sean, obviously, a lot of things going on, not just Dynamo related, obviously with the NWSL, Houston Dash, a legend of the Houston Dash. I guess maybe our first ever legendary Houston Dash player. It has announced that she will be leaving us here effective immediately, but we'll get to that as well. Obviously, Dynamo coming back. MLS All-Star game is tonight, if I'm not mistaken.
The skills challenge was last night.
So we got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff to talk about. And, obviously the transfer window, Quiones is officially coming to Houston. He will be with the team here, hopefully for Saturday's match. Whether he plays or not, I doubt it because he has no practices in. But he should be in Houston to at least watch the game and support the team on Saturday. If not that. But Sean, where do you want to start off? And I'll let you decide where you want to begin. You want to start Dash? You want to talk MLS All-Star Challenge or Houston Dynamo? What do you want to do? What do you want to start with?
What do I want to talk about? None of the above. I feel like none of this stuff makes me in a good mood. But I think if I have to pick a topic, I think I want to start actually. Let's kick the show off right with a little bit of positivity, like we did last week. The only positivity we have to grasp onto, it feels like at this point. Let's talk Dash, and let's go ahead and go with your poll question of the day to kick off the show.
For sure. So, obviously, if you haven't heard by now, then obviously, you've been under a rock or whatever. But like I mentioned earlier, our queen, Rachel Daly, she's leaving us to go back home across the pond, and she has officially signed on with Aston Villa after 7 years with the Dash. She was a first-round draft pick, number 6 overall in 2015. Yeah, 15. Great career. Our all-time leading goal scorer with 42 goals to her name. Obviously, she brought a NWSL Challenge Cup trophy to the team. She won MVP, Golden Boot for that tournament as well. So, a lot of accolades for Rachel Daly, obviously, the last couple of years. And, obviously, she's a player of high quality, high talent. And obviously, her winning the Euros with her home nation of England this year rose her profile immensely, if it wasn't already risen enough internationally. But with that being said, the poll question of the day was, our queen Rachel Daly is heading to Aston Villa after 7 memorable seasons in H-Town. What's your favorite Daly moment? First game, first Dash goal. That first goal of hers was really amazing, man. Just to cap off,
It was a pretty good goal.
Yeah, really good goal. Who would have known that that first goal was going to be the first of many spectacular goals and important goals in her career with us in the Dash. MVP Challenge Cup MVP, 3 goals and 2 assists in that tournament, like I mentioned. assist to Shea Groom to win the cup. She obviously made that last assist to kind of put the foot on the throat on I can't remember the team we played.
Chicago. It was Chicago, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, it was Chicago. There you go. To win that cup and and solidify herself as the MVP for that tournament. And obviously the last option I let people write in, but there was only one person who picked that, but they didn't write in the comments. So Sean, 74% of the people vote the MVP Challenge Cup trophy that she lifted, obviously for being the best player for that tournament, and in which the Houston Dash lifted the Challenge Cup, the inaugural Challenge Cup. What was your best memory? It doesn't have to be any of these, but what was your best memory from Rachel Daly, or if it is one of these, why is it one of your favorite memories?
Best memory. This circle doesn't fucking break, and it never broke. And we won the fucking championship because of this circle. Yeah. Rachel Daly, during the post-match celebration speech for Challenge Cup. That was the most captain speech I have ever heard in a locker room. It was next level, just amazing. The moment was spectacular, but it was just, the speech was just incredible. And I think it set, it was a sign of what was to come for the Dash. I think it was, there's still been some kind of struggles, I think, throughout the last few years. But it was it felt like such a turning point, right? And, George, to your point, she's leaving, she broke the circle, but I think we also have to factor in, that what she's dealing with and what she's dealt with in the last year, not even soccer related, but her father passing away, who's somebody that she was very, very close with, and then missing her family during that time, not being with her family during that time. And then going over to England and playing in England for the Euro Championship with the England squad, and she had been over there recently as well with West Ham in the women's, England Women's Soccer League over there. And I think it's just, you got to understand that an international player like that, who's played her entire career in the U.S. almost exclusively, the opportunity to go back home, especially when she just emotionally needs and probably mentally needs that, that the familial embrace. And, we've seen it from players before where, players have struggled because they don't have that support structure built up for them, or they don't have that emotional support structure. And I'm not saying she didn't here, but it's just different when it's specifically your family. And, I as much as I'm sad to see her leave, I think she's, to your point, she's a legend. She's left her mark. She's done everything, that we could have asked for, excluding winning an actual NWSL championship itself. But she won a Challenge Cup here. She won the next best thing in NWSL or women's soccer in the U.S. She technically won the Euro Championship while she was still a Dash player, say what you will. And, I think I get it. And as a result, I'm not upset by it. I'm disappointed, not in her, but I'm disappointed in the situation that we couldn't find a way to make it work so that she could still spend either the rest of the season here or whatever. But I think, if I genuinely take away kind of my fandom and my love for Daly as a fan, I think I can certainly grasp and understand her take on the situation and why she would have requested the move to be made. And frankly, let's be honest, with the way the Dash are playing right now, and I'm not saying that losing Daly isn't going to hurt, but I think with the way the Dash are playing right now, Daly was a surplus. Daly was a luxury, and there has not been a moment in the last 5, 6, 7 years that I could legitimately say that and feel confident saying that. So there you go. There's my thoughts kind of across the board on that.
Yeah, I mean, and I got to kind of piggyback off what you're saying. I mean, obviously, as from a personal standpoint, I mean, I love what Daly has done for the Dash personally, her attitude, her leadership, and her way to kind of pick up her teammates was always, always something that I kind of admire from afar. And just to be, obviously to not have a playoff qualification, and obviously since the Dash have been, around, it's one of those things that kind of a black eye on the resume, but it's she leaves the Dash better than what they were.
By far, night and day difference. Difference.
And what I love her to finish this season, because it looks kind of like the Dash are going to make their first ever playoff season, tournament. And who knows what happens in playoffs, right? Playoffs are tricky when it comes to things like that. maybe she could have lifted an NWSL trophy before she left, which would have been fairy tale ending, right? But I mean, obviously, like I said, she had a lot of things going on emotionally, especially going back home, winning the European title, and her home soil, just being around family and friends and people she during that time period, that whole month, and having everybody just support her full heartedly. Even though, like I said, she might have had some kind of support here, but not anything to the level of what she has back home, and especially now with her father not being here with us anymore. RIP to him. But like I said, I'm saddened, but obviously I understand. For those who don't know, obviously they're going to have an event for her on Friday during the Dash game on Friday. For those who don't know, there's going to be a meet and greet with her. So we'll pull up there's a link somewhere where you might even find it on the Dash website. So that way you can sign up and take a picture, go get an autograph, tell her how much you appreciate her, tell her thanks for everything and all that good stuff. I'm sure she's gonna appreciate it because, like I said, I'm pretty sure it was a hard decision for her too. I'm pretty sure she would have loved to finish the season out. And obviously a lot of things happen. To kind of make this situation happen. In hindsight, obviously we're all pulling for Daly because obviously she's in Dash, she's the England team, but I jokingly was mentioning to a couple people, man, if I knew this was going to be the result, I should just root for Germany in the final. But obviously that's just all in good humor. But congratulations to her again with that, and we wish her nothing but the best. I mean, she lifted the Dash profile for sure. Obviously we're winning that NWSL Cup, and playing in that miniature tournament with Portland and Barcelona and Lyon, and actually showing up to that tournament and leaving a good mark against world-class teams like those two across the pond. But yeah, I'm excited for her. We'll see what the next chapter holds for her, and I think Aston Villa are getting a hell of a player.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a world-class player. Obviously, she's played now in European Championship. She played in the Challenge Cup. She's played in NWSL for a number of seasons. She was a very high draft pick by the Dash at the time. She's done a lot. Go ahead, Mark.
She is. I mean, and it's just that as a fan, obviously you just have that man, like especially with how Ebony Salmon has come in and and just took the reins of scoring goals left and right. Maria Sanchez obviously doing her thing. Shea Groom, obviously Prince just came back as well from her international duties. And to think, man, we're missing our best player before we all knew about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our best player.
We were talking about it last week. We talked about it last week.
Yeah, our best player's about to come back, and and it just seemed like, man, all the dominoes are falling into the right place for the Dash, and this might be a special season for the Dash. And I started kind of talking like, hey, man, you know what? We might need to get off this negative train off of the Dynamo and kind of hop onto the positivity with the Dash are bringing, because this might be a special season and we might be needing to get revved up for these playoffs and be out there supporting these girls because they're doing an amazing job this season, an incredible job.
And that still doesn't change with Daly no longer here. Just so we're clear.
No, it doesn't. And in the hindsight, obviously if Dash do end up lifting, I mean, obviously that Daly would get a championship ring or a medal or whatever, because obviously she was part of the team too. Yep. But
half season,
so I mean, if not just for that, just do it for Daly.
Sure,
do it for Daly.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, anything else NWSL or Dash related that you want to that you want to touch on before we move on to?
I did want to touch on, you brought up Ebony Salmon, and I have to wonder if maybe, just maybe, the team had a clue when Daly went to the European Championships or was preparing to head there, if she had maybe brought up that she was thinking about it, because a move for a player like Ebony Salmon and in what they gave up, that's not just, that's nothing to laugh at. Nothing, that wasn't small amount of assets, to give up. So I have to think that maybe they kind of had a heads up that this might be happening, and they just, they were trying to give Daly the space to process. And then Salmon was kind of the insurance in case it did happen. And again, as good as Salmon's playing right now, again, I don't want I don't want to understate what Rachel Daly means and has meant to this team. But on the other side of that, the team did well to prepare for something like this. In the event that something like this did happen or were to happen, they certainly covered themselves and provided cover for that loss of player. Again, Ebony's not going to be quite to the same level of Rachel Daly, but what she's proved already is that in the position she's in and where she is asked to play and how she's asked to play, she's a great fit. So, I think the team deserves a lot of credit for making that move when they did and not just waiting until Rachel made the decision.
Yeah, obviously, losing a player like that, it's going to hurt in any squad. But obviously, Ebony, with what she's done and she's been able to do, as far as grabbing her boot and making sure she scores those goals, has made that loss a lot lighter to withstand. So applause to her, and I hope she continues this torrid scoring streak because she's amazing out there, man. She's doing the damn thing, and I'm glad that the Dash front office, Miss O'Neill, and then we're able to pull off that move and bring her in. And she's been phenomenal. I think 6 goals in the last 3 games, which include a hat trick, a brace, and let's hope she continues doing that. And let's hope she scores another 2 or 3 Friday for Daly. So, looking forward to it.
Yeah, just to kind of close it out, right? Six goals for Ebony Salmon in 3 matches. I mean, she's played 5 matches total so far, 6 goals. Even if you just count all of her matches so far for the Dash, that's an incredible number. But to then think that she's only actually scored in 3 of those matches and has 6 goals, I mean, that's just an incredible mark. And if she, even remotely continues on that, on that pace, that's just, obviously just kind of insane levels. And honestly, ultimately it may turn out that this is kind of a blessing in disguise and that it frees up another roster slot. The Dash at the end of the season will have the opportunity to bring in another player, maybe a player they hadn't considered before, or a player that they'd like to bring in. There's a couple that played for Real Betis over in Spain that are very familiar with Juan Carlos Amoros that would be really good fits for the team as well. And I could certainly see that sort of a deal happening at the end of the season and just trying to get that player over. So definitely, there's definite positive signs to be had, even in spite of this sort of thing happening. And again, the truth is the Dash are in 3rd place right now. They're a point behind 1st and 2nd place with a match in hand on 2nd place in the NWSL table right now. There's a first, the team in 1st place. They are same number of matches, but again, only 1 point behind. So you have to think, any of these spots, really 1st through 4th, is really up for grabs at this point, and it falls on the Dash players to come out and continue playing at the same intensity, the same fire, the same just fervor and determination and drive to win every match from this point on for the rest of the season. And again, what greater inspiration do they have right now than Daly, doing it for Daly, like you said, do it for Daly. Maybe we need a banner that says do it for Daly.
Yeah, and this is one, I know we say we're gonna move on, but
we never move on.
You bring a great point. Obviously now that we have an established coach and Juan Carlos Amoros, obviously with his connections in England and Spain, but we also have a young player that was highly touted that came in from Argentina, Paulina Gamilla, who is highly skilled and they think very highly of her. And she plays the same position as Daly, so maybe it opens up for her, minutes for her to finally get in. And she's young. She's I think 18, 19 years old if I'm not remember. So I mean, she's obviously raw talent, but there's a lot of hype around her as far as her being one of those future stars in the world of women's soccer. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah,
one more thing on NWSL. Women's soccer is apparently dominating the first half hour of the show. Evil Death brings up Gotham has a lot of games in hand. That's a really good point. Another thing, very small news tidbit that dropped today. Eli Manning has invested as a minority owner in Gotham FC.
There you go. The Mannings always finding ways to get involved in things,
They know smart investments, though. You can't argue that.
No, hey, when you can get in, especially if you can get in early. But shout out to the Dash. We love those girls, and hopefully there's a huge turnout for Daly and and for the National Friday. But yeah, obviously we're running simultaneously with another event that's going on in MLS right now, the MLS All-Star Game. I have never watched one, to be honest. I went to one when Manchester United came over here to play the All Stars. I think I watched maybe one against Real Madrid. I think it was a while back. But ever since they went to this format of MLS or Liga MX, it's never been my kind of cup of tea. It's kind of, I feel like it's a little bit too much involvement with Liga MX and MLS and this whole America Mexico thing. Whatever. It's just, I think it's oversaturated already a little bit. I'm getting kind of tired of it, so it doesn't really cross my radar. I don't know about you, Sean. Do you sit back and watch the MLS All-Star Game?
No, I haven't watched it actually for the last, I don't know, 2 or 3 seasons, if not longer. I did go to Man United versus the MLS All-Stars back in, I don't know, 2007, 8 or 9, something like that.
Yeah, I went to that game. It was against United here in Reliant.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, man. That was of all of the like big sporting events outside of Barca versus Bayern. Real Madrid versus Bayern in NRG Stadium for the International Challenge Cup or International Champions Cup. That's what it was. The ICC. Outside of that match, that is one of the most like enjoyable matches I've ever been to in a soccer not a soccer, in a non-soccer football stadium. I don't even know how to call NRG anymore. It was so much fun. I got to take a friend of mine. He brought his dad. I brought my dad. So it was the 4 of us. And it was just so memorable and something like that. You never forget.
Yeah, I think I was at that match as well. It was a fun atmosphere as well. I think if there's another one that I mentioned would be the Argentina USA.
That was a big one. That was a huge one. I was at that one too. I went to that one too.
That was a huge one, and that one actually meant something. So
yeah, I was in Sam's Army for that match. I was in the supporter section for that match for the US, and
awesome.
That hurt. I will say I have never had that's the lowest amount of voice after a match that I've ever had. Like I had literally nothing left to give.
No, the atmosphere is fantastic. But going back to the MLS All-Star, obviously, not having any Dynamo players involved with it for I think since Albert Feliz in 2017 or 18, one of those years or whatever, and I think he was injured during the time, so he didn't even participate in the actual game. So it's been a while since we had a Dynamo All-Star. Obviously, Hector Herrera took part of the skills challenge. It's kind of one of those things where like he's a big name and that I don't have anybody else out here representing them, so let's bring him over. Type of deals, and he did a great job with that. I didn't watch that too much either. I saw the highlights on Twitter. I saw a couple things going on, and which he kind of showed out and represented for the Dynamo pretty well. Did you catch any of that yesterday, Sean?
No, I didn't. I watched the highlights of the Hector Herrera thing. I watched the highlight of the final shot for the took MLS from Mukhtar that took MLS over the over Liga MX and yesterday. And I watched like 30 seconds or 20 seconds of the Goalie Wars intermission that didn't air on TV. Which, talk about great TV. They should have aired it on TV, man.
It was good. I have no idea. So.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. I mean, it wasn't. There's not much to it, but it's still like anytime you get to see goalies kicking balls at each other from that close into different goals is great.
Yeah, I think I saw more highlights of Herrera hugging other players than anything else these last couple of days. So, shout out to Hector Herrera being such a great hugger out there in this world and showing love to obviously his former Mexico national team teammates in Chicharito and Carlos Vela.
Keep recruiting, buddy. Keep recruiting. Come on. Ache, keep recruiting.
Obviously, hey, bring recruit. That's all it's about because obviously, if you want to enjoy your time here in Houston, we got to bring players that are on par to his level at the very minimum because. Lord knows we're not there yet. So.
How bad do you think this team would be if Chicharito is our starting striker over Sebas Herrera?
How bad do I think? Well, man, it's funny because I get into a lot of heated arguments about Chicharito. And there's no hate to Chicharito. Look, Chicharito has achieved a lot of great things in his career. Obviously, the titles that he won with Manchester United, the time obviously he played for Madrid, he played for Bayern Leverkusen, and things like that. And he's the all-time leading goal scorer for Mexico. He's done a lot of great things, right? But I tell people a lot of times, man, but when he first came in, the people who thought he was going to replace Zlatan Ibrahimovic and what that guy was able to do, I was like, dude, you're kidding yourselves. Like you're hype, you're too much on the Mexico hype train. Like this is the thing, with all respect, and it's respect to the Mexican culture, to the Mexican fan base, because obviously they're so passionate about their national team that that they just overwhelm everybody else when it comes to that. And and that Mexico hype train is just just once it gets going, it's hard to stop. And obviously, with everything Chicharito has accomplished in his career, that's all great and dandy. But Zlatan Ibrahimovic is like 5 levels above whatever Chicharito was at in his prime currently. So let's slow down a little bit. But like I said, he's been obviously hampered with injuries, distractions, things of that nature. Obviously, I think he does really well for himself as a gamer now. Instead of being a soccer player, it's not his full-time job anymore. It's one of many things that he gets paid to do. I think he's highly ranked in Call of Duty or so, one of those type of game deals or whatever.
It's Call of Duty. It is Call of Duty.
There you go. So how would I feel about Chicharito being?
No, that's not what I said. I said, how bad would the Dynamo suck if he was starting striker over Sebas? And then there's the sub question of, do you think Paulo would actually start Chicharito, or is he still going to keep him bench because he's a striker?
Well, obviously they would start because obviously there would be the fans that didn't see him, obviously the Mexican fans, right? But it would suck because look, Chicharito needs great service to be productive. He's that typical 9, that prototype 9 that if you pass him the ball, he's gonna find a way to get it inside the box. He's a poacher. That he is. He's great at doing that. But as far as creating his own shot, making his own moves to get in there, to create space, to create a shot for himself, he is not. He's never had the speed. He's never had the velocity for that. Never been able to hit. He's never had the dribbling skills to do that. Sebas, on the other hand, he can create the shot for himself. He has to do it too often. And then, obviously now with a little bit of tape on him, man, I've noticed like, hey, if you just put a couple guys on him, he won't be able to create his own shot. Plus, he's not going to get service because there's nobody in the Dynamo to service him the ball. So you cancel out the Dynamo's number 9 easily. So, do I think he would be doing better than Sebas? No. Realistically, I don't. Chicharito could be doing better. Like I said, he is getting paid like a top-notch player because of obviously everything that he's done in his career, his allocates. So you would think he would provide a little bit more than what he's actually doing now. But LA Galaxy don't have the best team in the world either. When we say Galaxy, some of us still have that thought of the Galaxy of the old, the ones that had the group of stars that are winning championships and things like that, and representing MLS to the fullest out there internationally. But that Galaxy has been long gone for a minute now. I don't think they've made the playoffs for almost 4 or 5 years themselves.
Damn, I heard that through your mic.
Yeah, it's pretty loud out there.
Wow.
But yeah, so I think Sebas is currently a better number 9 than Chicharito.
No, totally fair. I just was curious. It was
no, it's just a good question. Great question. But let me ask you this, Sean. This MLS All-Star game. Obviously, it doesn't matter to us because playoffs is not really any concern for the Dynamo. Like I said, we don't have anybody participating in the match. But let's say you're a team like LAFC, right? Carlos Vela is participating. He's obviously a focal point. You're in the midst of trying to win a supporter shield.
He scored. Vela scored, by the way.
Oh, shout out to Vela. Vela's actually doing what he's getting paid to do.
Sure.
As a franchise and as a coach, you'd be kind of frustrated because, like, why is this game during a time period where the transfer window is about to close. You're trying to acclimate new players that you brought in from the transfer window, and then on top of that, your top players have been chosen to go represent your team are going to play an exhibition game where they can possibly get injured so close to the playoffs. Like imagine if Vela gets pulls a hand or something during this game, and that's going to be a big hurt for LAFC.
When would you advocate for playing the All-Star game or an All-Star celebration type of match?
To be honest, I don't scratch the whole thing. All-Star games are an American thing.
But this is American soccer.
No. Well, American soccer is football. American football. So I mean, like I said, it's just one of those things where, like I said, I don't watch it. You don't watch it. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are on the same boat. I'm pretty sure the ratings for it are not that great.
They can't be that high. They absolutely cannot be that high.
They can't be that high. I mean, it's one of those things where it's just there because it's there. If we were doing the show right now, I'd be watching the Astros. That's what I would be doing. But with all realistically speaking, I mean, if you are going to do this, do it like, I don't know, make it a preseason thing. I mean, obviously you want fans to vote on it, but maybe they can vote for whatever they've done last season or whatever, because to do it this late in the season and you almost, and something that happened to one of these major players for one of these teams that are fighting for playoff positioning and things of that nature. How do you explain that as a league to that team? Like, how do you say to this team, like, oh, I'm sorry, well, this and that, they have to represent.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Kenny makes a good point. Honestly, I think with Leagues Cup, it will make All-Star Game irrelevant. I think that's a good point, actually. I think it's a good point.
It should. Like I said, the All-Star Game is just there because it's an American tradition as far as sports goes.
Well, I think there's also something to keep in mind, and that is that players get bonuses for being an All-Star. And they get paid even if they're just voted in and don't end up playing for it in the match. So I think there is some level of, players have, especially your American players, where, again, this is a very American tradition. Your American players, they grow up watching all these other leagues, and it's kind of a highlight for them in their season. But your international players, and again, that's your top 30% of the league are international players, with the exception of one or two Americans. None of them give a rat's ass about this game. They really don't. And, and I agree. I agree with you. I frankly 100% agree with you that this All-Star game and, the skills challenge is one thing, right? Because you're not out there tackling each other. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. But an actual match in the middle of a season when teams are, like you said, fighting for playoff spots, not the Dynamo, because we don't do that anymore, apparently. But, the teams that are, it is dangerous. It is dangerous for their players to be out there.
It is, man. It is. And just to be like kind of, not to sound so negative towards it, but I mean, like, you say, obviously, a lot, American athletes grow up wanting to be the best in whatever league they're playing in, this and that. But I mean, American athletes playing in MLS, their dream is to go abroad to Europe, and Europe doesn't have anything like that.
Yeah.
You're not gonna, they'll have a Premier League team of the year or something like that. That you get, that you give them a bonus if they make best 11 in MLS. That okay, that actually has more. It's more decorative than being an MLS All-Star, because it's all it is popularity contest. Honestly, I mean, like, you're not gonna. It's very tough for a player who was let's say a homegrown, who's actually doing things. Maybe he's a one of the top 5 in assists or top 5 in goals. To be there when you have big names like, Chicharito, Carlos Vela, or Gareth Bale, all these other players. Not to say that they're there, but you have those players there available to represent the MLS. But yeah, I think it's one of those things where they should scratch it. I mean, and not just for this league. I mean, look, the Pro Bowl for the NFL has become really irrelevant. The MLB All-Star Game is, like I said, the skills challenge about it. Like, I love the home run derby. I love the slam dunk contest when they actually have dunkers in the NBA, who can actually dunk. I love that kind of stuff. The skills contest was cool for the people who saw it, because I saw a lot of positive things about the skills challenge. That's cool. Let them go do that, showcase that. Cool. But yeah, having this game this late in the season when playoffs are around the corner, if I'm one of those teams, honestly, I'm nudging my player and be like, hey, fake an injury. Like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah. I rolled my ankle, bro. I can't play.
yeah, like your hammy hurts, or your cheeks hurt, whatever, something, But yeah, it's yeah, I don't need it.
Yeah, I mean, again, I agree. I just it seems superfluous at this point, and it seems like it's a it's definitely an attempt to be entertaining, but I think the real point to be made here is that the quality of soccer in that level of match is not indicative of the quality of soccer in either league. And I think if they want to have a good display to really put forward both of the leagues as an actual this is what how we actually play in league play, or this is what our clubs are really capable of. It's going to come down to something more like the Leagues Cup, and I think the more that gets highlighted, the less and less All-Star Game will be kind of cared about, and the more and more All-Star Game will just kind of disappear from everybody's periphery. And I would say even this year it's disappeared pretty far. Like, yeah, there's your handful of diehard MLS people or soccer, American soccer fans that are watching, but that's not enough to sustain that level of a match for very long.
Yeah, I mean, imagine it being here in Houston.
MLS, according to Kenny, MLS actually has a rule where if you're injured for the All-Star Game, you have to sit out the next league game.
Yeah, they did that to Zlatan his last season in MLS. Because they were trying to fight to get to the playoffs, and Zlatan didn't want to be part of that because Zlatan was 39, 40 years old, and he's like, no, I know my body. Why am I gonna go risk my body in a game that doesn't matter for anything to up my profile? I'm Zlatan Ibrahimovic. If you don't know me, you don't know God, So that's basically his mentality about it. But one thing that you brought up about like bonuses and stuff like that for being an all-star. I mean, I understand that there's incentives like that, but how about putting those incentives towards, hey, if our team makes the playoffs, you get X amount of dollars.
They already do. Those are already included. There would not be extra. It's already included. I think I want to respond to C's point here. C Sanford says it's fun to watch, and I think it's a great advertisement to help to grow the league. It could be better, but any attention is good attention for MLS right now, in my opinion. I would argue that it's not a great advertisement to help grow the league any more so than like Leagues Cup will be or CCL. Look, the biggest moment of this season was Seattle lifting the CCL trophy. There's no greater moment this season that's going to compare for advertisement for MLS across globally, or even in across Mexico or across the U.S. Look, CONCACAF in general has far more visibility for something like CCL than say All-Star Game.
For me, and just to go off, Sanford is one of those, optimist MLS supporters, whatever it's that, and that's great. Like I said, you need those kind of fans, and and obviously All-Star Game still was shown because of fans like him. But if you're telling me All-Star Game or League Cup, I rather have the League Cup, because it's a tournament that your team basically that your team can be involved in to help build the chemistry, to help build unity, win a trophy at the end, and win prize money. For the club, for the franchise. It's one of those things where, look, CONCACAF is our Champions League. League Cup could be our Europa League on this side of the world. That I'd rather have that. I'd rather than focus on League Cup and trying to make that a thing. And make that our quote unquote Europa League or our Copa Sudamericana, which is the second tier below Copa Libertadores. I'd rather than focus on that instead of this Liga MX versus MLS crap, because I don't care for it. I don't need it. I don't need it at all.
I wouldn't. And C responds back. If Dynamo had a couple players in it this year, we might all be singing a different tune. I'll be honest, no, I wouldn't. I'd be more upset, I think, even if we had players in All-Star Game, because it would, I mean, to be honest, and a lot of this would be dependent upon how the Dynamo are playing. But if the Dynamo were playing well and they had 2 or 3 players in the All-Star game because they've been playing well, I think to Mark's earlier point, I'd be upset that those players might get injured while playing in the All-Star game. And if we haven't been playing all that well, but we still had 2 or 3 players, then I still wouldn't give a damn. Like, I have no reason to give a damn about the All-Star game. There's literally nothing of value in the All-Star game, for anybody.
And then on top of that, I mean, look, if we had Dynamo players playing today, would they play? They would have to be limited on Saturday's game, which is an important game if we were in playoff contention. Like, what do I want? Let's just use Setos Herrera, for example. Do I want Setos playing 45 minutes in an All-Star game and him not being available for the full 90 on Saturday? Or him not playing that All-Star game and him being available for me the full game Saturday, which means something more to my club and my franchise and to my fan base. That's basically what it is. I mean, like I said, yeah. Would it be sitting? Would I maybe watch it if there was a Dynamo player on there? Yeah, maybe I'd glance at it, maybe, but still, I wouldn't have any care for it as well because, like I said, the timing of it is just not right because you're so close to the playoffs, and if something were to happen to one of these players, and you return that player back to them injured, how do you explain that?
Yeah, for sure. In YouTube chat, actually, I had a couple questions related to is Hector Herrera playing in the match or is even on the bench? The answer is no. He was only essentially brought in as a last-minute replacement for a player who got injured who was scheduled to be in the skills challenge. And so Ache was only in the skills challenge. He's not even on the bench for the All-Star game. And again, I think as far as all of us or the most of us are concerned, that's probably for the best. He also says, hope we get the win Saturday. I mean, it would be nice to get a win. It's been a minute, as they say.
It's been a minute. We're gonna see an old familiar face in Romel Kyoto.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, Romel Kyoto is gonna be fired up for this match,
dude. Like, it's funny. I think I was reading somewhere where they said the Dynamo match is almost like a 20K. Well, tickets sold, but
19K, yeah, 19K,
something like that, right? Which it's 7-1-3 game. It's another opportunity to go to an event downtown for a cheap price, and that's good. Like I said, that's why I said every game from here on out, maybe excluding the last game, which is I think the Galaxy or maybe the LAFC game, make every one of those home games 7-1-3 games because what
do you have to lose right now?
What do you got to lose? You might as well throw it out there. But anyway, with that being said, this is a 7-1-3 game against Impact Montreal. We're going to have Romel Kyoto grace us back on PNC's pitch. He is their leading goal scorer with 11 goals in season right now. Man, it would be nice to have somebody scoring 11 goals for our team right now. But with that being said, obviously, Kyoto, former Dynamo player. Does Kiki Struna still with Impact? I don't know.
Yeah, I think he is. I think he's still with the Impact.
Okay, so we got a couple of old familiar faces coming over to see us. But with that being said, he had a brace against Inter Miami last week. Big ups to him. I think he had it in the first 30 minutes. He's gonna come in here motivated. I think Glenn said it perfectly in the show last night. For those who don't, Soccer Matters on ESPN 975, obviously with Glenn Davis, he was talking about, I think he's going to come here motivated. He's going to look here to score not just 1, maybe 2 goals, or if not, get thrown out of the game. If it's not going right, it's going to go either 1 or 2 ways. He's either going to score on us or he's going to get thrown out. Which obviously his ending here in Houston wasn't the best of endings, obviously with the allegations of whatever was going on in his personal life and things of that nature. And he had to be moved on. It's an unfortunate thing because I think he would have done really well here in Houston. Imagine right now having Kyoto, somebody who can feed the ball to Setos Herrera, on the left-hand side. What could have been, right? But Montreal, I think right now are third or fourth place in the Eastern Conference, so they're in the midst of playoffs. They look set to make the playoffs. They they obviously have a veteran team with obviously we mentioned Struna, one of your old top Spurs players, Victor Wynidum, something like that, if I remember correctly, is on
Victor Wanyama.
Wanyama, there you go, Wanyama.
Wanyama. Easy pronunciation, bro. Wanyama. That's even how it's spelled. Wanyama. Victor Wanyama.
Wanyama. But I'm gonna go with Wanyama.
No, that's Gigi Wijnaldum, like she's saying.
Wijnaldum. Anyways, but yeah, I mean, they're gonna be motivated. Obviously, they're trying to collect points and move up the pole position in the Eastern Conference to try to catch up to, I think, Philadelphia and New York FC. I think those are the top two in the Eastern Conference. So they're going to be highly motivated, not just the personal vendetta that Kyoto is going to have on the Dynamo. The whole squad is going to come in here motivated to secure points, because obviously the Dynamo are on a downward trend while they're on an upward trend. So, I mean,
they've won 3 of their last 5. They drew one of those and lost the other. We've lost 4 of our last 5, I think, and we lost 3 of our last 5 and drew the other 2.
Yeah. So, I mean, what are your expectations for this match? I mean, obviously it's you would hope, I mean, it's tough, bro. The last 2 matches, I mean, to get pulverized 6-0 against Philadelphia, and then to lose in Vancouver the way we did, man, the way they did. I don't want to say we because I wasn't in the pitch. I hate people say that.
I mean, you're not a loser, let's be real. You're not.
It's hard, bro. Like, I mean, and then that match was a Friday night. Like, dude, my eyes were so heavy. I was like, fuck, man. Like, but I was willing to pull through it because, they were winning 1-0. I was like, man, we need these 3 points, Vancouver is missing like half the squad. Whatever. It was all there laid out for the Dynamo to win, right? 87th minute, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Let's do it. Come on. Boom. 1-0. 1-1. Fuck. Man, are you serious? Okay, fine. We'll get. And I'm trying to stay positive. Okay, we're gonna get a point on the road. Road points are always far and far away from each other when it comes to the Dynamo. So, okay, we're going to collect the road point. 92nd minute. What? I'm like, I turned that TV off so quick, man. I was so upset. Dude, my eyes hurt. I got over with the headache the next day. I was like, fuck, man, I can't believe I lost sleep for this bullshit.
That's okay. I got up at bright and early to watch Spurs decimate. Who do we play? Southampton.
Yeah, Southampton. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I had the happiness earlier that day because Arsenal opened up the season Friday against some club. I can't remember, but we won against 2-0. Crystal Palace.
Yep, y'all beat Palace.
But with that being said, I mean, damn, man, like Sean. And shout out to everybody who went out to, Phoenix to watch it over there with the Surge.
For sure. Shout out to the people who went to to Phoenix. Yes.
Shout out to the people who showed up at pitch 25 to watch it with the Dynamo.
Y'all the real ones.
Yeah, y'all the real ones because, man, dude, I mean, some of the guys from the Surge who were there at Phoenix, Look,
I'm gonna say this. Y'all the real MVPs because there certainly is not a most valuable player on this squad.
Yeah, because, man, dude, I was upset when I fell asleep that night. I can only imagine how upset I would have been if I was out there in fucking Phoenix.
Oh, bro. I would have spent another like $50 on alcohol.
Yeah,
I'm not even lying. Bro. Like, I gotta just black out. I don't even want to drive home. I'm gonna just Uber.
I'd be like, I give my keys to the bartender and just give them to me in the morning. I'm gonna sleep.
Don't stop. Just keep it coming. I'll fall asleep on the bar. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'll follow. Or somebody put me in the bed of my truck. I'll fall asleep there. But yeah, man, it's pitiful, dude. Like, and then like you see these press conferences, these post game conferences with Paulo, and he doesn't say anything different. And there's nothing different. There's nothing to really.
I don't know. He said something different after the last match.
Yeah, but I mean, there's really nothing to hang your hat on. Like, there's no. I feel like just the whole spirit has been crushed. Like, there's nothing there. it's kind of an ultimatum where, where I'm kind of already like, okay, fuck, Paulo's going to come back next season because, that's Pat's guy, that's who he chose or whatever. So the ultimatum's kind of already been made where like, hey, the coach is going to be back, you guys aren't. So if y'all want to show up that you want to be on the squad next season, then you better start showing up now. If not, then kick rocks. And I'm just like, fuck it, man. I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's questionable subs, questionable tactics. Paulo looks like a man who is just so scared to even try anymore in terms of like something innovative. Everything he puts out there week after week, match after match is just bland. Paulo ball is like watching Jose Mourinho, but like the bad Jose Mourinho that didn't win anything. That Jose Mourinho, the one that everybody hates. He wasn't just bad with Spurs. But
the last season with Madrid, he was bad too.
Yeah, he was real bad last season with Madrid, or the last season he was with Madrid. But yeah, I mean it's frustrating, and we all know it's frustrating, right? Like nobody is unaware right now that the fans of Dynamo are frustrated, pissed off, between being vocal, between being, and the comments from Glenn of, the media needs to have more, accountability and put more pressure on the club. And so, the fans got to put more pressure on the club. I don't know what we can do in this kind of situation because, well, hold on, before we get to that. Yeah. But right. I don't know what we can do. We just talked about it. It feels like that decision's already been made that Paulo's coming back next year. And so if that's the decision that's already been made, I mean, yeah, we could go ahead and we can, I've seen silent protest ideas. I've seen walk out of the match after the 30th minute. I've seen don't even show up to the match, just go watch it at pitch 25 and have a big ass party there instead. I've seen just stay tailgating out in the lot for the whole match and don't even go inside the stadium. I've seen all these different ideas, but at the end of the day, I don't think that's going to have any impact. I really don't, because I think that there has just been an acceptance of the level of mediocrity, and it's not even mediocrity. If we were average in MLS quality right now, this team would be competitive. We'd be vying for a playoff spot.
It's okay. I want to get back to their thought that happened.
Yeah. Sorry, I just needed to finish that before I forgot. Thank you.
But it's so stupid how approachable MLS playoffs is, and the Dynamo can't get there. They can't even make a little run just to keep us intact, and just to keep us intrigued enough to want to continue this season, right? Because it's honestly like, dude, I'm done. Like I'm done. Like don't even say playoffs to me. Like we can't even win a game. They say, oh, we're 5 points away from the playoff line or whatever, 7 points, whatever it is now. It doesn't matter. It could be 2 points. It could be 29 points. It doesn't matter. It's not happening. But I want to go back to what you were talking about the media. Listening to Glenn show yesterday, man, he had Victor Ariza, obviously, who does Dynamo stuff, whatever, with the striker, and Eddie, who's his, obviously his co-partner on the telecast. Man, dude, like you can hear Eddie's emotions talking about this. Like he was on the phone, and it sounded like he was shedding tears. And it is a grown man, but it just shows how much he really cares about this. He stated, that he's been wanting to leave for a couple of years now because he just hasn't been in love with how the organization's been run and stuff like that. Obviously, whatever, and he's happy with the new buyer and all that stuff, right? But prior to that, he's been wanting to go, but he's like, man, but I want to leave, but I can't. Like I love this club and this city too much. And he's like, man, I've talked to some of the old guys, obviously like, Brian, Stewie, Brad, all these guys from the championship years. And it's like, they all ask him, like, dude, what's going on? Like, you're right there. You're part of the whole thing too, because, this and that. And he's like, man, I don't know. Like, it just all of a sudden took a left turn, and we just been going left for the last decade. and it just and no matter how much we think that we're coming back to the right side, something derails us and we go back going left. And it's for him, somebody who was part of this franchise as a player, as an assistant coach with the Dash, obviously as a commentator with the television broadcast. He's seen every aspect of this organization, and to see it from his glory days to what it is now, and it's a crap of a franchise. Like, dude, like, I could understand his emotions behind it and why he feels so defeated when he talks about this, because we all know, like, Sean, me know, a lot of the guys here on the chat know, and a lot of people who are going to watch this later on probably know, this isn't going to be an easy fix, unfortunately. We all talk about, like, all like, oh my God, like, all these contracts are going to fall off this end of the year. The winter transfer window is going to come up. You have all these European stars that are out of contract that can come over, like, blah, blah, this and that. Like, I'm going to say something right now that might piss off a little bit of people here, but I'm going to say it because I want y'all to get this in y'all heads starting now. Like, even though you should expect a multiple amount of new players to come in, don't expect a multiple number of game changers to come in. You can bring in new players. Anybody can bring in new players, whatever, swap out players here and there, left and right. But what we need are game changers. One of the things that Eddie mentioned, or I don't know if it was Eddie or if it was Victor, or it might have been Glenn himself, they were talking about the Quiones signing, which is great. Look, the kid might be great. He might end up being something in the future or whatever, but that's not what the Dynamo need. We talked about this, Sean, in one of the prior shows, if it wasn't last week or 2 weeks ago. Like, this club doesn't need to be focusing on trying to find diamonds in the rough or young players to groom and to elevate. No, we need players who are already made, who understand what the objective is and what the goal is, and who can come in and contribute immediately. We don't need no adaptations. We don't need no time for them to get accustomed or used to. No, man. Like, we need the players that are going to come in and automatically hit the ground running, score the goals that we need to score, make the plays that we need made, make the defensive stoppage that need to be done. We need all that done immediately. I don't need to be waiting to see if Quiones is going to turn out for us a year and a half, 2 years, 3 years from now. If he does, great, but I don't need that right now. I need proven players, high-quality players, high-caliber players. You see, we need transfer fees. We need players that understand the game, who understand the quality that is MLS now, not what it was 10 years ago, whatever, because we're stuck in the past. We need quality players as of now. And Kenny says on us, so we don't need stars. We need one great winning with us and that. It doesn't matter. Look, I don't care about a brand name, a star player, whatever. I need players who can play. So let me ask you a question, Sean, how many of you guys on here in the chat, Sean, you can answer this question yourself too if you feel the need to, knew who Chucho Hernandez was before he came over from Watford to, for $10 million to come to this crew? Unless you're just a diehard player, a diehard fan that watches the English Premier League, and obviously Watford was in the Premier League last season before they got relegated, but not too many people knew who Chucho Hernandez was. He's not a brand name. He's not a high-end player. But you know what? Columbus Crew did. They paid the transfer fee to $10 million. They brought in a player who's going to fit their system, who's going to impact them immediately, and he has. No problem. Why can't we why can't we go get that player? Why can't we go get those players? That's the signings that we need this offseason, this winter offseason. It's not the, hey, we paid $500,000 to get an Argentine player on loan with an obligation to buy or an option to buy if he turns out to be okay. It's not a, hey, we're gonna get a Colombian for $750,000, or on loan, because with the obligation to buy. If he turns out, no, dude, spend the $5 million transfer fee, $7 million transfer fee, $10 million transfer fee to bring in the players that you need now. We have the resources. At least that's what that's been told to me. We have the resources. John?
Yeah. Good points all around for sure. I think the part of Kenny's statement that I don't want you to miss here is, yes, he says, we don't need stars. We need one great winger or attacking mid and the right group of role players. Yes, you still need those, 200, 300, 400,000, 500,000 transfers for those role players or trades within MLS or signings or whatever you want to call them. You do still need those players. Those players are important, and look no further than LAFC for proof of that. But you still need that one linchpin in the attack that is capable of being the generator. And at this stage of Dynamo, it is not Quintero. And this system that Paulo Nagamura is continuing to force upon not only the players, but this club and this team is not the right system for having a true number 10 in there. A true distributor of the ball in the attack. And Quintero, for all of his quality, there are plenty of matches where he disappears. And look, that's been a known quantity with Quintero. He has highlight reel games, and then he has games for 4, 5, 6 matches in a row where he maybe has one moment of sheer brilliance, but then he has 80 plus minutes where you're like, why is he even on the pitch? And if that's the guy that you're relying on to be your creative generator for the attack, that's why Sebas is not getting the service he needs. That's why Thor, when he's in there, is not getting the service he needs. That's why, it wouldn't matter, but that's why Fafa, Pico is not getting any service. To be fair, it wouldn't matter. He's not going to score it anyways. But even if he did get the service, it would be different. But the fact is, when you have a match against Vancouver and you managed a whole 2 shots on goal in the first, I want to say it was like 60 minutes of the match, 2 shots on goal, and you led 1-0. Like that is just absurdly bad.
Think about it. Did you remember the beginning of the season when there was a lot of hype?
No, I can't remember, man. I can't remember that far back at this point.
Well, okay. Well, there was a point in time where the Dynamo were number 2 in allocation order, right? They were like, oh man, the Dynamo allocation order, there's all these players that can possibly come back to the league, and the Dynamo can have a go at them, whatever this and that. And it's like nothing ever happened with that, right? And we would make fun of I remember somebody was making fun of Cincinnati that they were going to go for like a 3-peat of wooden spoons or whatever this and that, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen anymore. But I gotta give a shout out to like Cincinnati in that front office, man. Because look what they've done during that same amount of time from that period when the Dynamo had the number 2 overall allocation order. When they had them, they brought Lucho Acosta back, to the league, who's the top assist guy in the league. They brought in last season the Brazilian kid. I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now, but he's doing the damn thing. They just brought in Matt Nizaga to solidify the defense. Like, these are players that were available for the Dynamo. Lucho Acosta is the number 10 that we should have been picking up for however long I've been breathing, talking about the Dynamo need a 10, need a 10, need a 10, need a 10, they need a 10. They need a 10, guys. They need a 10. Dynamo need a 10, guys. Guys, can we get a 10? You let them go to Cincinnati, the laughing stock of the league for the last couple of years, because that was the only club that was doing actually worse than the Dynamo, And now look at these guys. These guys are like 5th or 6th place in the Eastern Conference, going to make the playoffs. With our old school head coach Don Kinnear as an assistant, and helping those guys out, kind of steer the ship in the right way. Like, Why? I mean, why does it seem like everything becomes so difficult for the Dynamo to do? You know?
There is one thing that puts the Dynamo season after season at a pretty significant disadvantage, and I think it goes very lightly discussed or talked about because it doesn't seem like it should be as big of a thing as it is. But we have fewer international slots than any other team in MLS year over year. Just the base number that is handed out to teams, we have one fewer than every other team. And that doesn't seem like that should be that big of a deal. But when, 50% of your roster, approximately, if not more, or 50% of your starting lineup, if not more, are international players, that starts to add up real quick. Those slots are valuable slots. Yes, they only go for 50 to 60K, and I have to wonder why we can't afford to buy one of those, apparently. But it puts us at a disadvantage immediately out of the gate. Now, with that said, it falls on Pat, and it falls on Asher, and it falls on the front office to figure out how to build this team without having that extra international slot. And from what I've seen so far, I feel like we've brought in some good talent players, and I feel like they've shown that on the pitch at various times throughout the season. But I come back to this point. There's a lot of Paulo enforcing upon everybody else his desired style of play, trying to be that manager that dictates, we want to play this way, and I'm going to be very rigid with my approach. I'm not going to allow any shifting from that. And the problem is his style of play and his tactics don't match the roster as it's currently constructed. They don't match what players we currently have on the roster. Now, in 2 or 3 seasons, if he has the right players for the mix, maybe that changes. But from everything that I've seen from Paulo, if he doesn't get the right players to fit his system and his desired style of play, then he can't coach. And if he can't coach with the wrong players in the system that he has, and he's not willing to change from the system he has, to me, to be honest, I don't want him as coach. And I've said this time and time again. A good coach, even a mediocre coach, would be able to adjust their approach and adjust the tactics and adjust the formation to absolutely put players in a position of success. Utilize their strengths to the best of their ability. Look, we know that Fafa Pico is not a distributor of the ball on the wing. So why do you keep putting him out there and asking him to put in crosses? We know that's never going to work. And there was a comment earlier from C saying that, that tons of service, but it's all bad service. Exactly, because we continue to ask wingers that are not wingers to do the thing that they are not good at doing. We do not have a talented crosser and service man out wide to play this style of play and this tactical approach. And if that is the case, and again, nobody denies that, but if that is the case, even if we get a really good distributor of the ball, this team is not going to improve tremendously because your coach is unable to get the most out of every other player on the pitch. And that is a demeaning, a demoralizing, and frankly, a defeatist attitude as a coach to have. And if you wonder why it looks like Paulo has lost this roster in this locker room, it is for that reason, because he does not allow players to play to their strengths, and he gets frustrated when they don't listen to him.
I would get better service with a Dish Network satellite right now, currently in the current weather that I'm dealing with right now. Than what any winger has been able to provide to Sebas or Thor, whoever's up there, right? And that's the same. We talk about international slots, and yes, we have 7 when everybody else has 8. And with New York Red Bulls having 9 because we gave them ours forever. I guess forever means forever in MLS. But it's crazy because not I think yesterday DC United bought an international slot from New York FC, if I'm not mistaken, for $50,000. Okay, cool. If that was available, why didn't they just spend $50,000 and to sign Kionis and buy their, instead of letting Pash money go? And then look at him now, signed with New York Red Bulls with their extra international slot that they have from us forever. The irony. It's poetic. But with that being said, I mean, yes, we can, as a front office, they have to understand that they can't focus too much on the international, side of things. They also have to produce players locally. who would you think is our best best non-international player
on the senior squad?
Yeah, on the senior squad currently. Steve Clark.
Yeah, I was gonna say it'd have to be Steve Clark. Yeah, it took me a split second to think about that. I was like, that's a good question.
Like that's a 38-year-old goalie is our best, national player.
Domestic player, yeah.
Domestic player, there you go, that's the word I'm looking for. Domestic player that we currently have. That right there should show you where the franchise is at. That it's a shame. It's pitiful. Like it is realistically, and like I said, I don't want to harp too much on it, and I don't want to put too much blame on Pat and Asher and those guys because I know they just came in, right? And unfortunately, whether we want to or not, we're gonna have to see this through with these guys, and hopefully that they make better choices than the previous regime, did. And obviously with the influx of money that's supposed to be brought into the club, hopefully we can turn this around quicker than another half decade. Because like Stanford said, 18 months ago, Cincinnati was a dumpster fire.
Absolutely.
If you tell me 18 months from now the Dynamo are going to be playoff contenders, I'll sign up for that right now. I'm cool. 18 months, cool. Let's do it. But
so here's the thing, right? You bring that up, but you kind of bring that up, but Cincy didn't stick with the coach that they had when they realized he wasn't good enough. They had to go get a different coach.
Yeah, because you have to understand the players that you have. Look, Sean, let me ask you this. In business, sports, whatever you want to call it, is it easier to get rid of one manager / leader, or is it easier to get rid of 50 employees / athletes?
That is a really good question. I would say there is a caveat to that. If I'm the CEO or I'm in a position to make that, have the authority to make that decision, it is easier to get rid of the manager than to get rid of their subordinates or teams of subordinates, as the case may be. Exactly. I would say there are, situations. Caveat to that, but yes, I know. I'm just saying. Just saying.
Too far into details about it. Just is it easier to get rid of one person as opposed to getting rid of a group of people?
So yeah, but Kenny brings up a good point, and again, I don't want to validate Kenny's point, but it's a good point. Have the employees sucked under two different managers so far? Is it how? And again, I am firmly Paolo out. I'm gonna be Paolo out from until the end of time. I don't care if he has success. Honestly, I don't. I really don't. I don't like what I've seen so far, and he's not changed anything in my opinion. And I don't think it's gonna happen. I agreed with Kenny. Point is fire both. You don't keep one. If the team is struggling and the manager has struggled as well, you get rid of both. And I'm on board with that. 100%.
But what I'm saying is, okay, if you can't have a complete roster flip over during this winter's transfer season, right? Because of MLS restrictions and stuff like that, it makes it a little bit more difficult to just like European teams, hey, just go buy whoever the hell you want to go buy, right?
Sure.
If you can't make the complete overturn of the squad, and you still have to keep a couple of players here and there because you still have to form a team and have a base of the team, right? Why would you still want to have Paulo in charge of those players? Well, the same. Okay, look, when Tab was fired. Great. We were like, okay, cool. These players sucked. The level was the player level is not there, but a different voice, a different structure, a different environment might bring the best out of them, right? We all hoped, right? It didn't go well. It
has not gone well.
It has not gone well.
To that point, just real quick, just hold your thought. Just literally hold your thought. I want to bring this up because Kenny brought it up. Kenny said we are literally 2 fluke matches against Chicago Fire, and I don't remember who the second club was, from being as bad as we were last year during the summer. Okay, you can go.
Yeah, we basically had American tab and just went to Brazilian tab. And that's all we did. And this is why I can't accept these rookie coaches that we keep having, because, like I said, as much as I'm harping about trying to bring in super young South Americans because they're diamonds in the rough and you're trying to groom them, stop hiring rookie coaches to try to groom these young players. This is their first go round in professional teams. Do you think they need the extra layer of work or extra layer of responsibility to groom these young players up while they're trying to deal with the fact that they're trying to run a franchise that's been in the dumpsters for the past decade? I mean, it's a tough gig right off the bat.
So look, I'm going to just tack on to what you're saying. We don't have to look very far to see what a difference the right coach and a coach with an understanding of tactics in football, has a few football IQ and can talk about that stuff, and one who has proven that he is at least a quality coach at the professional level. We only have to look over to the dash to see Juan Carlos Amoros, who has proven it with Real Betis. Now, granted, they weren't the best team in Spain. That's understandable because they also weren't in the top tier league in Spain. But what he did was he proved that he understood how to be a professional coach with professional players in the women's game. And now he has come here and he has applied a lot of great things to this Dash squad. And we're seeing the Dash squad elevate themselves, even in spite of not having all their best players back in the roster. With that being said, you have to think that there are coaches like that available out there in the European market or other markets. And I know that MLS in general does not have a good track record with coaches that come in from outside the league. But I think the reality is that may be our best bet right now, because we've tried inside the league and we've tried U.S. national team, youth national team. Neither of those worked. The only possibility that I would be okay with a coach that is currently maybe possibly going to be available come end of winter, would be if Greg Berhalter was available at the end of winter, because it's somebody who knows Pat and can work with Pat, proved it their time in Columbus. So, but that's a totally different situation and a very, just as far-fetched as me trying to push for Tata Martino. Although, again, if Tata Martino's available, I'm hard-pressed to say you don't throw the money at him and say, Ted, back up that damn helicopter. Forget the bus. We giving him the damn helicopter.
But this is the thing, and Kenny makes a great point about forcing the foreign coach to have somebody with MLS experience in the staff.
I agree 100% with that, just so that's clear.
Because, look, foreign coaches haven't had the best experience with MLS, right?
Sure. And it's a different league. We all know that, too.
It's a different mechanism than I used to, right? But you know why Tata Martino was that one exception to have a great to be, because he started from the ground up with Atlanta United and built that club alongside what's his name?
Carlos Bocanegra.
Yeah. Look what Bocanegra has been able to do after Tata Martino left him. Nothing. Failure after failure.
We talked about that. You remember when Tata Martino was leaving Atlanta United? What did I say? Remember what happened when Miguel Almiron was leaving, and what I said was going to happen? So look. I'm just excited because I was right.
We're talking about the Dynamo losing a bunch of contracts, having not being. I said this myself. We need to take it back and make this like an expansion type of deal for us.
Sure.
Pretend to be an expansion. We're an expansion franchise, and this is the rebirth of the Dynamo. I'm just gonna use Tata because that's the coach that you're enamored with, whatever.
Sure. Yeah, but it could be anybody.
So let's you bring in an experienced coach like that to help build from the ground up, who understands what he's looking for and the type of player profile that he needs to succeed. Okay. Now it's Pat Asher's and Ted's job to provide the funds to bring the players that he needs over, okay?
Yeah.
Or to find a level of player that fit under whatever budget or whatever slot or whatever mechanism the MLS allows them to bring in. Whatever. That's their job. But you bring in an experienced coach to build it from the ground up. That way, when you go into the next phase, whether it be the summer transfer window, you bring in the next batch of players that you need to better improve that squad, and so on. But when you have a rookie coach who doesn't really understand what his philosophy is, because he's had no philosophy, he's a rookie coach.
It's been handed to him. It was handed to him in KC.
Yeah, he only knows what KC's done. And granted, he came from a winning environment, but look at KC right now. Look at KC. Look at KC's style here in the Dynamo. It's not working. Excuse me, it's not working at all. So I'm for. Look, if we're gonna tear down everything and just and burn it to the ground, and start fresh.
Can I ask you a question based on that? And this is to chat as well. Would you, as a Dynamo fan, accept 3 years of mediocrity if it meant 3 years of mediocrity versus let's say 2 bad years for 1 excellent year? What's a better scenario for you? 3 mediocre years or 2 years of just crappy play getting ready for the 1 big year?
What's the 1 big year consist of?
MLS Cup final appearance. I'm making it tough on you, buddy.
I mean, look, I couldn't blame anybody for going either way because, obviously, like 2017 was great, right? And that was just a U.S. Open Cup trophy.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, 2018 was great because it was U.S. Open Cup trophy. 2017 was great because it was a playoff run out of nowhere. So I just want to feel that experience again, dude. Like I need that in my life.
Not just you and not just fans, but the club needs that right now, right? Like the club needs that level of a success right now. I think, Kenny, continued talking related to Tata Martino, who also had Dario Sala, who understood MLS on his staff. But that's a coach who understands what he needs around him in order to succeed. That's not what Paulo Nagamura is. That is not how Paulo Nagamura has been. He doesn't surround himself with achievers.
Look at his stats. Look at his stats. He has 3 goalkeepers, former goalkeepers on his staff.
And we can't keep the damn ball out of the net.
Like what is that? Like, how is your number 1 assistant the former goalkeeper for Kansas City? What does he bring to the table? He's a rookie himself. Like what? If he was a rookie, if he was a rookie head coach and he had somebody behind him that had a lot of experience, okay, cool. But he's a rookie head coach with a rookie assistant, with another rookie assistant. You got Paul Rogers who's been there forever, and then whoever else is there. That's it. Like the staff itself it's laughable.
Yeah, I think here's the other thing, right? And this is the question I think we'll kind of leave on. We'll answer this question and we'll kind of leave on this. We'll do predictions, of course, but and this is open-ended. I'm not expecting to answer this week. In fact, let's not answer this week. Let's mull over it. The real thing to, I guess, think about here is there's a part of me that says, does Paulo need to finish out this season if the Dynamo if Pat really does not believe in Paulo? He's not going to say it. We're not going to get any publicity around that. Nothing's going to be said publicly. It's going to be behind closed doors. But if, let's say, the Dynamo are working to sign or to grab a head coach for next season, there's somebody who's going to be available in the winter window for whatever reason, but somebody that they can actually put in that position come the winter, the winter period. And it's someone that has that. Maybe they don't have the pedigree, but there's someone like a Juan Carlos Amoros or somebody who has proven that they at least know how to coach at the professional level. If they do that, and that coach is backed by resources from Ted and ownership and all of that, then is there reason to believe that next season could be a season where we start seeing success? Again, let's mull it over. Let's think about it. I want to go into predictions for this weekend's matches. We've got Friday night is Dash, Saturday night is Dynamo, and I think Sunday might be Dynados even. So I'd love to get all 3.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Where do you want me to go first?
Let's start with that. Let's go Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Let's go in the order.
All right. Dash versus Louisville. Obviously, the hype and emotion because of Rachel Daly's farewell. Louisville being the team that traded away Ebony Solomon.
No, that was KC Current. That was not Louisville.
KC? Are you sure?
Pretty sure that was KC. I don't think there's anybody left in this group that would be able to tell us that is watching the show right now. But I'm pretty sure that was KC.
I'm going to have to look at that. Okay. I thought it was them for sure. But anyways, okay. I'm just gonna go through because I think the Dash out here they're gonna prove a point. They're gonna have a lot of high emotions and that they want to. And I think there's gonna be a nice sized crowd because of Daly's farewell. I think it says that he think it was Louisville too. So
maybe it was Louisville.
So if it is the revenge game for Anthony Solomon, man, 4-1 Dash.
It was Louisville. I'm actually looking at the kit. It was Louisville.
Okay, all right. Yeah. See, I follow my NWSL a little bit. 4-1 Dash.
Man, 4-1 Dash against Louisville. Louisville's a pretty decent team, but I think that I'm gonna say 3-1 Dash. I like the one. I think the one makes sense. 3-1 Dash. Ebony has a brace, and Ryan Garris gets a goal as well.
Louisville's only won 2 games all season.
I know, but they're good. They're still a decent team. Records being what they are, it is. You can always look at that and say what you will, but there are teams that have better records than they should have. There are teams that have worse records than they should have. So
okay. So on to Saturday. Kyoto versus the Dynamo.
Oh, bro. This is where therapy goes out the window and reality gut checks everybody.
Dude. Let's hope. A 2-2 tie. I'm hoping. I'm being optimistic with that. I didn't want to say what I wanted to say, but I'm being optimistic with this 2-2 tie.
You ready for this?
Go. Don't tell me to win.
4-0 Montreal.
Oh, okay. Perfect. I'll wait for Montreal. Okay.
Kyoto's gonna have at least a brace, if not a hattie.
Hey man, respect for Romel if he comes in here and just dominates.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
He'll
have earned it.
Yeah. Kenny says 1-1 because Kyoto has the red.
I mean, let's be real. I could see that too, right? I could see it going either way, but my gut says the way this team is playing, and I mentioned this earlier. Someone said, "Oh, Kyoto's due for a red." I said that might be true, but I don't even think this team being up a man could still win this match.
So that's why I was being optimistic, because I was thinking 2-2 because Kyoto would have the brace and then have a red like in the 80th minute or something like that.
Sure, but do you really think that this Dynamo squad, even being up a man, would be able to win a match? Let's be real. Or pull out a draw?
To be honest, I wanted to say 3-0 Impact, but I wanted to be the optimistic one because I know you've been,
and then I went higher anyway.
I know you've been negative Nancy towards the Dynamo these last couple of shows.
Look, you know it's bad when Sean has gone negative.
Yeah, no,
it's bad, Sean. Bro. It's bad.
Hashtag negative Sean. Dynados. Who are they playing?
They're playing Colorado.
We'll be in Colorado.
Oh wait, that's not until. Sorry, I am wrong. That's Sunday. They play in Colorado on Sunday night.
They're playing in Colorado?
I'm pretty sure it's in Colorado.
Damn, they're gonna wait till next week and we're
No, never mind. Sorry, it's here. Man, I'm totally out of. Boy, I'm struggling here. All right, yeah, it is here. It's at Aviva Stadium.
Okay. Man, those boys are doing the damn thing.
Must be nice.
Marcelo Palomino's a free kick maestro.
But he can't see the pitch for the Dynamo, a team that hasn't scored a free kick goal in how long? Right. Okay, cool. I just want to throw that out there because fucking Paulo Nagamura sucks as a coach.
Yeah. Man, Colorado. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I know anything about the Colorado Rapids too. But I know what Dynados is, and those kids, they impress me every time. Every time I see a scoreboard, every time I see a highlight, every time I see whatever reels that they show on social media, those kids are doing a damn thing. They wear that kit with a bunch of passion and they embrace it. 3-1.
I'm gonna throw it out there just so you know. Colorado Rapids Dos are currently in 9th place in the Western Conference in MLS Next Pro.
Oh, okay. 3-0.
Yeah, they're not a very good team. In fact, importantly, they've only scored 27 goals and they've given up 46. So
3-0.
I'm gonna go real on this one. We talking a 5-1, 5-0 victory right here, because legitimately, as good as Dynados has been, they can score goals, and as leaky as Colorado Rapids 2 have been, they give up goals. This is perfectly built for the Dynados to come out and get their 9th straight home victory at Aviva Stadium.
MLS says 4-2 in a PK shootout. So let me just refresh my memory. I know we're about to end the show here pretty soon.
Yep.
They get a point if they tie, and then they get another point if they win the penalty shootout.
Correct. They would get 2 points instead of just the 1 for the draw.
Okay. Cool. Well, guys, Sean, anything else you want to add before we close out?
Just I want to answer C's question real quick, even though I answered it in chat. If you're not, and I'll let you answer this, and we'll close the show on this note. If you're Naga out, are you Bundy in as interim head coach?
I'm in for forever. If they want to ask me to coach it for a couple of weeks, I'll go out there and do it.
Am I hearing the thunder through yours, or what's that?
Yeah, it's
wow, bro.
It's pretty bad. Guys, obviously,
I'm hearing it here too.
Thank you for the support, guys. Obviously, we try to be here on every Wednesday as much as you can. I'm not sure about next Wednesday because I know a lot of us going to be traveling the next day to Colorado to go see the Dynamo in Colorado for some reason. I'm not sure why, but we're going to be out there. But yeah, guys, appreciate the support. And like we always said, since Hector Herrera was up here, 2 H's for H-Town, hold it down, continue holding down, even though it's harder to hold it down sometimes.
Be my heartbreak, be my one-on-one, be my only one. You're my only love. Be my heartbreak, be my one-on-one, be my only one. You're my only love. Message, hit me now, hope you get the message. Who are you texting? It's not me, then babe, who are you texting? Hit me back, I hope you get the message. Calm you down cause you been acting reckless. Flood the ring and I bust down the necklace. Doesn't mean a thing, just know I spend it. Doesn't change a thing, just know I spend it on you. Get you Louis if you want it, no, that's nothing, no. You can tell me that it's something, but it's nothing, no. You ignore me, but you're always on that phone. Acting funny, but you